It's the final stop on the road to Worlds Collide, but is it also the beginning of the road of Keith Lee as North American champion? Why don't we pull in to this metaphorical service station, have a coffee and a toilet break, and find out. This is NXT Graded. We kick off tonight with the Dusty Tag Team Classic Tournament semi-finals, and it's the Grizzled Young Veterans taking on Bobby Fish and Kyle O'Reilly from the Undisputed Era. The Vets are so unpopular that the Era are baby faces as a result of this. Match comes to an end when it looks like Fish and O'Reilly are about to finish off James Drake. Imperium's music hits, and they appear in the balcony, a bit like the royal family at a royal variety performance, just staring nonchalantly at the chaos underneath. This distracts O'Reilly and leaves him wide open for a ticket to mayhem, and lo and behold, the Grizzled Young Veterans are in the finals of the Dusty Rhodes Tag Classic. Incredible scenes. This is a B+ from me. Great match between these guys. They work really well together. I kind of felt that the Undisputed Era looked daft. Like the idea of the music playing and the guys from Imperium just stood there, distracted them. It looked a bit daft. But hey, can't complain. Zach Gibson and James Drake in the finals of the tournament. Nice. Just checking my watch. I've only done 2,000 steps today. I should probably get on that. And it's 5 past Toni time. Toni Storm, who challenges Rhea Ripley for the NXT Women's Championship on Saturday, is facing Io Shirai here tonight. Fine match. These guys work really well together. The end comes when Toni Storm goes for a dive to the outside, only to be clonked in the face by Bianca Belair. This brings out Rhea Ripley, and these two guys have a schmoz. Io Shirai's back up. She wipes them both out with an Asai moonsault. Then Toni Storm dives to the outside, wipes out Io Shirai, gets back in the ring, and holds up that NXT Women's Championship that Ripley dropped. Oh, looks good on you, Toni. This was a B+ as well. There's 2 distinct matches being built here, of course. Ripley and Belair for Portland, and Ripley and Storm for Saturday at Worlds Collide. So despite the match, the constant confusion of what matches are being built where, this flowed really well. Dragunov on video. He's so good. I'm going to hit you 1,000 times. It's going to feel like the world is crashing down. I am Ilya Dragunov. I will not miss. Sending quite the message to Finn Bálor. Bálor sends one just after this. He is in action against Joaquin Wilde. This is an exhibition for Bálor. Basically, he stomps on Joaquin, saying that's for Dragunov, that's for anyone else who wants some. Shotgun dropkick, coup de grace, 1916, bang, done. Bálor looks dominant. Giving that a B-. I don't normally give a squash match like that a particularly high grade, but I thought Bálor looked great. The intensity in Finn Bálor and the fact that he has completely embraced the heel Prince thing again to this extent. It's brilliant. And I am ready for them to shoot Bálor and Dragunov into my veins. Next, Shotzi Blackheart versus Shayna Baszler. Blackheart threw out Shayna in the Battle Royal last week, so a bit of revenge is on the mind of Baszler. Baszler really just wears down Shotzi here. Very much like the playground bully type, it seems. But Shotzi, resilient, keeps firing back. We all think she's going to do it when she hits a sliced bread on the apron. The hardest part of the ring is that apron. Goes up for a senton, only to be caught in the clutch. And she submits in the clutch. But then Shayna doesn't let go of the clutch, holds on even tighter until Blackheart is out cold, and that is done. And this is an A-. I thought this was a great showcase Shayna Baszler had. She's never looked stronger. And it continues to reassure me that Shayna Baszler is winning the Rumble. Now, last week when she entered the Battle Royal, I thought, oh, okay, maybe she's sticking around in NXT. But this very much felt like I'm now done with Shotzi Blackheart. Onto the races we go, onto the Rumble we go. Further proof by later on in a WWE.com exclusive, we see Shotzi Blackheart get battered by Deonna Purrazzo backstage. So that's what's going on there. And Baszler is off to win the Rumble. You've heard it here first. The second semi-final of the Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic now. It is the BroserWeights, Matt Riddle and Pete Dunne versus Fabian Aichner and Marcel Barthel from Imperium. Wilde's presence ringside distracts Dunne and gives Imperium the advantage in the early stages. It all comes to an end after some great tag team techers. Hello, wheelbarrow, top rope diving DDT. Look that bad boy up. All comes to an end where Riddle is able to counter the European bomb with a Frankensteiner onto Barthel and a German suplex onto Aichner. Mwah, it was beautiful. End comes with another nice double team finisher. A combo bro to sleep enziguri for the 1, 2, 3. And the BroserWeights are in the finals. They have a bit of a back and forth on the mic on the top of the ramp with the grizzled young veterans. Zach Gibson calls Dunne selfish for never giving them the opportunities. Matt Riddle makes some jokes about weed. Pete Dunne says, hey, I've beaten you guys before. We'll do it again, bro. Or give these guys 25 minutes next week, please. That'll be lovely. I'm going to give the whole thing here a B+. A lot of B pluses today. I thought it was great. It was just, for me, there was just a little something that stops it getting an A. Couldn't quite put my finger on what it is. But I'm confident next week, that final's got to be an A, surely, at the least. Main event o'clock, and it is Roderick Strong defending his North American Championship against Keith Lee. The story of the match is Keith Lee's Keith knee. It gets taken out multiple times. It was Pillmanized last week, you see. And so a lot of the offense from Strong is on the knee. Low drop kicks, ankle locks. We see actually a few moves from Kurt Angle's playbook from Roderick Strong. Not only do we see a grapevined ankle lock, but before that, we see a avalanche Olympic slam onto Keith Lee. None of this puts Keith Lee away. Tonight, Keith will not be denied. He powers up. After everything, he wipes out the Undisputed Era who try and get involved. He eats a running knee from Roderick Strong, manages to kick out as Roddy goes for another running knee. You see Keith Lee just sort of magnum up, just like, whoa, stand up now. And ground zero, 1, 2, 3, Keith Lee becomes the new NXT North American Champion. Standing on the ramp with that belt almost brought tears to my eyes. I tell a lie, it definitely did. And just as Keith Lee heads off to bask in his own metaphorical glory, out come Imperium, and NXT goes off the air with all 8 of these lads just banging heads. See you all on Saturday for a big old battle for Worlds Collide. A+ main event. I thought it was a great story told between Lee and Strong. Strong being the smaller guy, constantly trying to chop down the redwood. Keith Lee will not be denied. This is the right result to happen. Keith Lee has come so close on multiple occasions to becoming a champion in NXT. I was terrified he'd be Lex Luger in the sense that they would just never give him the belt and all the heat would just drain from his life. But that's fine. That's not happening. Keith Lee is the guy. This is very exciting. It's an A+ main event from me. Not just because it's Keith Lee. I know I've got a bias. But the match itself was really beautifully put together. And it's a lovely way to set the wheels in motion as we go into Worlds Collide on Saturday between Undisputed Era and Imperium. This week, NXT on USA gets a B+ from me. It was a B+ show as far as I was concerned. Wasn't a bad show at all. Like, there was lots to love in this week's episode of NXT. There were some really strong matches in the Dusty Tag Team Classic. We've got ourselves a really exciting final match after Grizzled Young Veterans and the BroserWeights won their contest. I'm excited for that. And we have Keith Lee as the North American Champion. I know, there's lots to be happy about. But it wasn't the best offering that we've had for NXT in the last few weeks. I thought last week's show, in all aspects, was far superior, with the exception, of course, of Keith Lee winning in the main event. That's fine. The 2 people to me that stood out the most on NXT this week was Keith Lee and Shayna Baszler. For Keith Lee, obviously, this is the night that he's won the big one. It had to happen. It absolutely had to happen. And I'm really glad that it did. There was concerns that he would be this guy that was always going to be an also-ran, but he's not. So that's nice. Shayna Baszler as well, who returned last week, as we know, in the Battle Royal, and then kind of was mixing up with Shotzi Blackheart. But this felt like the very quick end to her rivalry with Shotzi Blackheart, which in my head, my weird little Brian, puts her back in contendership to win the Women's Royal Rumble on Sunday. Now it kind of feels like there was a little bit of business still to attend to, and that business has been attended to. So now Shayna Baszler can roll on to the Royal Rumble on Sunday. That's what I'm thinking. I'm also really, really chuffed with the way that NXT can promote 2 shows at once. I think it's a real skill that they've got in how they put the show together. And I wanted to give some love to this because they've got Worlds Collide on Saturday and they've got NXT TakeOver Portland coming up next month. And like with the Toni Storm Io Shirai match, which involved Bianca Belair and Rhea Ripley as well, they were able to tell 2 stories simultaneously. And they do that really well on NXT overall. They're able to not have everything overlapping to a moronic sense. It all just feels like it flows really well. And I don't feel confused by what they're promoting, if you see what I mean. If you want to watch Worlds Collide with us at Cultaholic, Adam and Jack will be watching Worlds Collide, and you can watch along with them on the Cultaholic YouTube channel over the weekend. I think it's going to be a show stealer. Potentially. I know we say this about every sort of Saturday show before a Sunday show, but Mustache Mountain and DIY. Oh, my days. Give them half an hour. And then on Sunday, it's the Royal Rumble. Next week, myself and Ross Twiddell will give our reactions to the Rumble. And who knows, the next time that you and I sit and have ourselves a conversation, I could have Cultaholic Championship on my shoulder. Maybe me and Keith Lee could become like super friends that have belts together. I might slide into his DMs about that. I might do. Love you, bye. Hey, thanks for watching. Don't forget to leave a comment in the comment section down below. You can support us on Patreon by going to patreon.com/Cultaholic. Lastly, don't forget to hit subscribe and join us.